This is Weights and Wealth, your one-stop shop for entertaining education on building a stronger body and bank account.
We are not doctors or financial advisors and must warn you this is not medical or investing advice. It is for your entertainment.
Welcome back to Weights and Wealth, the number one faith and finance podcast in Eastern Uzbekistan at the moment.
I'll take Alex. I'll take 500 stats that aren't real.
Well, I mean, we don't know, but there likely is someone in the Near East listening, and if you are, what's up? And stop DMing us.
Or start DMing us. Yeah. The shout out for today's episode comes to Lauren from Charleston, South Carolina, for giving us good feedback on the podcast and sharing the show with her friends. Thank you, Lauren. Sean, the Wealth Wisdom.
Wealth Wisdom of the week. A good way to start a business, or at least kind of get the ball rolling, is to actually get into the industry, get your feet wet, gain experience, and then try and identify the shortfalls and issues within that industry or that company. And usually if you find a problem in a particular company, you can generally talk to other people in the same industry as you and see if they are having the same issue. And now you've identified a problem, and it is up to you, the entrepreneur, to build a service or product that fixes that problem. And now, boom, you have your business.
Yeah, that's the core of every business, is solving a problem for people that benefits them.
But too many people want to stay on the sideline and be like, I'm just going to do research. I'm just going to, like think about it all the time. But it's like, if you're not giving your brain input, like if you're not collecting data, because that's really what your brain is. It's a big computer. You're never going to, identify the problem and actually know how to do something about it. Yeah. If you're not,
or you might think you have a good product or service, but that problem doesn't actually exist.
Yes.
So like we found, Sean and I both have young soldiers we've interacted with a lot over the past few years, and we see a culture problem in America. So Weights and Wealth, the goal of Weights and Wealth is to help bring back a culture of faith, fitness, finance, family, and freedom to young men in America.
Radicalizing the youth.
Radicalizing the youth, yeah.
About good things.
All right. Speaking of the youth, we have a
unbelievable,
crazy article here today.
This is nuts.
Yeah, this is. So when I saw this,
it makes me ashamed to be a Zoomer.
Yeah. So when I saw this article, it's an article from The Hill. The headline is 26% of Gen Z applicants bringing parent to job interview, survey. I was like, there's no way that this is real. There's just absolutely no way. So I started reading the article, and it's really only a paragraph. But in the paragraph, they have a link to the survey. So then when you open the survey, it's from April 30th, 2024. We're going to quickly just run through some of the stats, and then we'll work down to the part of the survey that is just beyond terrifying. Hold on. We have a technical issue. The phone fell over. All right, we're back. As you can see, we've had a lot of technical difficulties. We're using the mic stands, old school Weights and Wealth, because if you want to go back to the last episode, our mics fell off the table with the arms. So, but anyway, back to the study. So,
and this is 1,500 people, so it's not like
it's a decent population size.
Yeah, and it's not just like 10 random dudes that they were like, hey, do you have anxiety?
And the other thing about the population is, my first thought upon reading some of this was, okay, well, maybe they're including 14-year-olds from Gen Z in this study. No, the population is only ages 18 to 27. So these are all adults that took place in this study, or at least they should be, but maybe mentally they aren't. Study highlights 70% of Gen Zers ask their parents for help in the job search process,
which is, I think, totally normal.
Yeah, I guess.
You'd be like, hey, like, Dad, like,
do you have any recommendations?
Yeah, do you know anything about this company?
Yeah.
Or like, do you
Do you have any ins anywhere?
Yeah.
Maybe
Because I mean, like at a certain point, like nepotism does make the world
especially
go round.
when you're starting off.
Oh
it's
yeah,
very common.
like if you are not asking your buddy's dad to give you a job, you know, if he's like owns a business or
the
something,
whole network is your network.
Yes.
Thing. Yeah.
Like you're an idiot.
Yeah. All right. 25% of Gen Zers brought their parents to interviews.
That's really weird.
16% say their parents submitted job applications for them.
That's ridiculous.
1 in 10 had parents write their resume. I'm surprised that's actually not higher.
You can have them like check it.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
And
Like,
like,
that makes sense.
But you're not going to be like, my son got a 18 on his ACT. You know.
It's like, imagine. I don't think this is even in here, but imagine how many.
Imagine being 27 years old and your dad comes with you to a job interview.
Okay, but what percentage, I guess, real quick, do you think put their parents down as a reference on their job interview? Because that's not in here, but based off these stats, it's got to be pretty high.
I don't know. I can't. I would say pretty high. But good God, like unbelievable.
All right, so first section of the study is about Gen Zers asking their parents to help them find a job. So always, for every job, they've asked their parents. 6% said always. 30% said sometimes, and 30% said never. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. Asking your parents to help you find a job, we kind of covered that. That makes sense.
It makes sense.
Let's move on. This statistic I thought was interesting. 8 in 10 Gen Zers who landed a job using parents' help attribute success to parental guidance. And when you break this down further, of those recently employed, 83% fully or somewhat attribute their success to their parents, while only 17% say they don't credit their parents at all. So,
which is really weird because if you're using parents' help, and then 20% of us, I guess, you know, the Zoomers are like, yeah, they actually didn't help me at all. Like,
well, no. So I did different.
Or am I misreading that?
Yeah. So, well, because 70% said they used their parents' help. So, it's not within that 70. Oh, no, it is.
Yeah. So it says 8 in 10. 8 in 10 Gen Zers who landed a job using parents' help attribute
success. Okay, so it's of that 8 and 10.
Yeah.
All right. Well, 17%.
So there's 20% out there who like got help, and then we're like, nah.
Okay, but still, I think 17% is really low, saying they don't credit their parents at all. Because I think some people that answer this question using their parents' help, maybe they just ask, like I mentioned earlier, hey, do you know anything about this field? Like, do you know any companies that have like a good reputation or something like that? Mm-hmm. So 17% saying they don't credit their parents at all, 83% fully or somewhat attributing their success to their parents. I feel like people are so reliant in Gen Z, like on their parents because of the way they were raised. And I'm not a parent yet, so I don't really know the challenges with this, with like the helicopter parenting style. We have mentioned the book Coddling the American Mind before on the podcast by Jonathan Haidt.
Well, I do think that this statistic this study, I mean, it might be a little bit skewed just because of how young Gen Z is.
Well, yeah, but it only used a population of 18 to 27.
Well, that's what I'm saying is like with these people, that it might be their first job.
Yeah.
You know, like not everyone, you know, worked through high school like we did.
Yeah.
You know, like I've had a job since I was 14.
With people being helicopter parented, mm-hmm. like it used to be normal that you would have a job in middle school, high school, so you're gaining that experience beforehand.
Yeah.
Like
child labor.
This goes back to this goes back to like the whole minimum wage thing though, like wanting $20 minimum wage for working at McDonald's. Well, that McDonald's job isn't supposed to be a career. It's supposed to be for like high school students that are getting their first job.
You're supposed to
learning the service industry.
It's a filler.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, all right. 1 in 6 parents directly submitted job applications for them. Among those who asked for their parents' help, 24% report that their parents submitted their job applications for them. I find it really hard to believe that Gen Zers aren't proficient enough in technology to submit a job application themselves. So why are their parents submitting the job applications for them? Is it that the kids don't have enough initiative to go out and try to find a job? Like, what do you think the reason for that is?
Maybe they don't want it. I mean, it says one of the things here is lack of motivation, and it's almost at 35%.
Yeah, so reasons Gen Zers ask their parents to complete their job application. But what is it? 46% said their parents' work is better. Makes sense, I guess. More experience. What is that? Maybe 33 or 34% don't know how to address managers. I think that's a problem. I think that's maybe a problem with how kids are raised.
It's like, I'm Mr. Bob. I would like a job.
Well, but don't know how to address managers. I think part of that is like kids nowadays don't have experience talking to adults. When we were little, I'm pretty sure you probably had the same experience I had, where early on, my parents would introduce us to adults and have us have conversations with them. When adults would come over, we wouldn't necessarily, like, at least
wouldn't get sent away.
Yeah, we wouldn't get sent away. Like eventually we'd go upstairs and maybe watch a movie.
Adults are boring.
Yeah, but in the beginning, so the adults could be together. But in the beginning, when the adults came over, we were downstairs
talking with them,
talking with the adults, and I think that's very important for development. Part of what we've covered in the education episodes is that early on in American public education, everyone was in one classroom, kind of mixed together, and you were interacting with people of different ages. Whereas now with the school system, when you only interact with people your exact age, I feel like it kind of sets you up for failure by not knowing how to talk to people that aren't specifically in your age group. So that's what I think about that one. Lack of motivation, 32%. So just not motivated to get a job, and poor mental health,
almost 25%.
23%. Like that. We have a mental health crisis on our hands. Like that is insane.
This called me cynical, but this is less competition. You know what I mean? Like at a certain point, I'm kind of personally, this is me on a personal level. This does not reflect the views of Weights and Wealth or my employers. I think that yes, we need to provide help and resourcing, but at a certain point, you're just throwing money away, because if these people don't help themselves, like, or we destroyed the means by which they have become the way they are, which is probably social media.
Yeah, social media is a big one. If you want us to do a book club episode on Jonathan Haidt's new book, Anxious Generation, let us know. But yeah, social media, growing up just on screens and not socializing, huge problems.
Yes.
I think this is
I would not be very sad if they destroyed all social media and then you guys never got to listen to us again. That would actually be we would count that as a win at the Weights and Wealth organization. So
in the Anxious Generation book, Jonathan Haidt talks about how when he talks to Gen Zers, if he asks he'll ask like, how many people have Netflix or have watched Netflix? Everyone raises their hand. How many people wish it was never created? No one really raises their hand. It's a good service. People enjoy streaming content. And then when he asks about social media, how many of you have social media? Everyone raises their hand. How many of you wish social media was never invented? All the hands go up. Like people just don't want to be left out, but people realize that social media is not good for them.
Well, I think it's not good, but like, I mean, for someone like me, it's like, I've never felt like once been like, damn, I wish I was in, Bali. Like I'm so mad.
Yeah.
Like
also men are less.
It's memes. I'm on there for the humor and for like the weird stuff.
I'm on there for memes, producing content, has left help, and football news is a big one for me.
Yeah, and
that's where I get my football news
update.
From.
Like for me, like it's more like political stuff that I enjoy, but. It is the information that you can get rapidly, which is cool.
And if you read Coddling of the American Mind or iGen, you'll see that like females are much more. Oh gosh, I'm searching for the word, but like men are not as affected by social media in terms of like wishing that was their life, whereas females are much more.
Maybe what we should do is it's like the opposite of what people have talked about with Twitter, where they want to have like an identity verification. It's like you have to be anonymous. You're not allowed to like post pictures of yourself. You're not allowed to show your face. Period. And so everyone on social media has to be anonymous. And if it's too pretty, we take it down. At a certain point, if you get like over 100 likes, which I will say this, we have like 200 16 followers. Why are we not getting 216 likes on our Instagram
Come on,
post?
people. All right, moving down through the survey. Nearly 1 in 10 had their parents complete their HR screener calls. What?
Wait. So they're on the
What?
phone? They're on the phone.
The parents are answering the HR screening calls for these adults, but kids really.
What's your name? George.
Yeah, like I can't imagine.
Why do you sound like a 53-year-old woman?
All right, it's crazy. Okay, and again, it's similar reasons. Impact on mental health, 31%. Parents are better, 48%.
Well, I feel like these
38%.
these people should not be getting a job if
It's hard to find good employees right now.
I guess.
All right, 1 in 4 Gen Zers take their parents to interviews. I'm going to read off some of the stats and then hand it over to Sean for his opinion. But some of the stats, 26% of all Gen Zers who have undergone a job search in the past year say they have taken their parent to an interview. 31% had a parent accompany them to an in-person interview, while 29% had them on a virtual interview. How parents attended, yeah, blah, blah, blah. All right, let me get down to the next one. Okay, I thought I went into why.
Did you say this?
Yeah, so, okay, 37% say their parent accompanied them to the office, so maybe like drop them off, give them a pep talk in the car. Okay, I guess that makes sense. 26% say their parent physically sat in the interview room. 18% say the parent introduced themselves to the manager. 7% say their parents answered questions. How are you ever going to get a job if your parent is introducing you to the manager during your interview and answering questions for you during the interview? What, like?
But I want to know what kind of jobs are these? You know what I mean? Like what are they applying to? Dude, that they're bringing their mom with?
Imagine getting out of college, showing up to GE for a job interview as an engineer, and your parent is there with like a stepbrothers interview. We're interviewing as a team. Like what? How are you going to get that job? There's no way. There's no way. Like, I don't care how uncomfortable you are. It is better to just bomb the interview than to bring your parent with you and have them answering questions, interviewing as a team with your mom or your dad. That is insane.
If you're out there, if you are this 7% that had their parents answer questions, DM us. Call me. I will send you my cell phone number and I want to buy you a coffee. But maybe I'll just Uber Eats it to you and we can FaceTime because I don't know. All
right, we will WhatsApp call you if you're that uncomfortable and you need help. We'll give you pointers. We'll do practice interviews with you.
Yeah.
Free weights and wealth service here.
Yeah.
We want to help you if this is you.
Yes. Like seriously, we do because this is a tough spot to be. I don't really know what to say. I'm just trying to imagine myself and like my dad.
Okay, imagine like your interview with the battalion commander when you get to a unit. Imagine your dad coming in with you. Like, I'm
pretty sure there's like an article under the UCMJ that like I would get executed. I'm joking.
All right.
Yeah, no, that'd be awesome.
1 in 8 had their parents write their resume from scratch. 55% of Gen Zers say they asked their parent for help with their resume. I guess that makes sense. You know, people use teachers or like you're in a class writing a resume. Maybe you ask your parents for help. I can see that. That makes sense. Mm-hmm. Writing their entire resume, 18%. So almost 1 in 5 or around between 1 in 5, 1 in 6 have their parent write their entire resume for them. I feel like this is honestly on the parents. Like a lot of these statistics, this is on the parents not preparing their kids to be confident to go out into the world.
People.
Yeah, like I feel like you're doing your child a disservice, honestly, if you're doing all of this for them. Because
well, I mean, this is like, I guess technically, like if you're looking at the young end, like it's about like we're about to start seeing like the first iPad babies, like kind of becoming a thing, right?
Yeah, I mean,
in the next couple of years.
Have you ever gone into like a restaurant or somewhere and the person is literally just like the employee is just like on their phone and has earbuds in.
Yeah. No,
it's like, what are we doing
annoying.
here? You're supposed to be working. Like, I get it if you're doing a job and there's no one around,
and it's
listening
busy,
to music,
and it's
listening to a
busy
podcast,
work.
it's different.
You're you're just building stuff on the computer, PowerPoint, Word document. You're writing an article. You're studying.
Throw in the earbuds. It might help you.
Yeah, but if you're in like a service industry, or like you're the receptionist,
interacting with people.
Yes, if that's your job, you probably should not be listening. Like in a super obvious way. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, this is 1 in 9 had their parents directly communicate with their hiring manager. This is wild stuff, but the link is in the show notes, so go check it out.
The one thing is, for these guys, or are too busy.
14% say they're too busy
to write their resume. What are you busy doing?
Yeah, I don't buy that one.
Like,
what is that? Is that college students that say they're too busy, or maybe they already have a job and they're trying to switch?
Maybe.
I doubt they're too busy. I highly doubt that.
Yeah. There's 1,400 of these people out there. We need to find them.
That's just a sample size. There's tens of thousands of these people out there.
Maybe, or maybe they just found like the 1,400 of like some of the weirdest people in the U.S.
If these statistics apply to you and you're in our younger audience demographic, please reach out to us. We would like to help you because you're not.
I'm sorry, I made fun of you.
For success. Yeah. All right.
Not really, but
let's transition back.
Yeah, but I mean, I think the thing that we can all take from this is that you should be grateful for your parents, right? I mean, and that's kind of the focus of this episode is, yeah, we're not trying to just rag on anxiety-ridden peers, I guess. The focus of it is gratitude, and I think what we can say is that both of us are very grateful to be high-functioning individuals.
Sounded like there were some implications in there.
Or at least well-adjusted, I should say.
So today's
episode, that's due to our parents.
Yeah, today's episode is gratitude. Some of those things, I think, especially with the mental health, that like 22% say their mental health is the reason they can't. I think a lot of that can be traced back to just a lack of like faith and gratitude and purpose. I think working on your gratitude and your mindset can help with a lot of those mental issues. So let's hit the definition of gratitude real quick, just to start off, just so we're all looking at the same baseline here. So dictionary definition of gratitude is the quality of being thankful, readiness to show appreciation for, and to return kindness. The gratitude definition in a research article that I found was gratitude is an attribution-dependent emotion that arises from a two-step process whereby individuals, 1, recognize that they have received a positive outcome, and 2, attribute the outcome to the efforts of another. So upon reading these definitions, I was surprised. That was not what I thought the definition of gratitude was, to be quite honest. And it makes me think of just gratitude from a faith perspective. If you read the book of Job, Job was grateful and praised God both in the good times and the bad. And I think, like, for me, that's one of the keys to gratitude, is to be thankful even when there's not those positive outcomes. I don't know. What do you think, Sean?
Well, I think it depends. Yes, being but the idea of gratitude kind of requires. I feel like gratitude is event oriented and specific. It's a vector. It's directed. And so since God is eternal, yes, you can be eternally grateful regardless of any situation, right? Because he is all good, he is all present, he is all powerful, right? But as far as like me to you, like if you stole like my milk from upstairs, I would not be grateful.
Did.
Wouldn't surprise me. But you know what I mean? So like I'm not going to feel very grateful towards you then.
Okay, but flip it this way. This is more of the analogy to the book of Job. So maybe there's a negative outcome, but you still helped me. So maybe you're helping me prepare for testing at the old guard for those 8 tests we have to take, and you help me prepare for it, and I still fail. Negative outcome, fail my test, but you still helped me. I should still be grateful for your help.
Yeah, but I did something that was, and then it was you failing was independent of my help.
Yeah, but so in the research definition, or even in the other definition where it says return kindness in that dictionary definition is what you're saying. Whereas what I'm saying is more the research definition, received a positive outcome. So I think gratitude still applies when there's a negative outcome.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah,
especially for help along the way. But at the same time, I'm not grateful. Like for example, if I did fail or you failed, you would not be grateful to me that you failed. You'd be grateful that I helped you and I got you as far as you did.
Yeah,
but you would not be grateful because of the failure. You know what I mean?
Semantics.
Well, I think it's them saying outcome. Receiving a positive outcome makes it seem very like transaction based.
Yes.
And it's not. It's kind of it's a process. It's continuous.
Yeah. So I think maybe the research definition lacks a little there because they are measuring transactions. So I'm going to read a little excerpt from this paper. In this paper, we propose that when outcomes influence how individuals experience the self, such as in achievement context, the experience of gratitude may require both the acknowledgement of help from another and the perceptions of personal responsibility. Conversely, it is possible that individuals may feel less grateful for help when they do not feel personally responsible for their outcomes because the lack of personal responsibility alters their experience of the help. This reminded me of, if you go back, I think it was around episode 70 or 68 or 69, but the Toxic Charity Book Club.
I think it was 69.
It might have been 69. Sick, dude. Toxic Charity Book Club, really good episode, but that reminded me of Toxic Charity where people aren't as grateful when they don't feel responsible for the outcomes. This is from the research study. So when someone just receives a handout, but they weren't personally responsible for the success in that experience, they're not as grateful. And that was part of the premise of Toxic Charity. So that was just a mental link I made when I was reading the study.
Yeah,
you agree with that?
I think that makes sense. I mean, you do anything in life, and if you're not involved in the process, you're gonna be less grateful or less appreciative of the positive result received. That's why, like, you know, when you buy something with your own money, particularly, you know, anything that you use, you're going to care more about it, and you're probably going to take better care of it than if you just got it as a gift.
It's true. Yeah.
Yeah, it's because you parted with something that was dear to you for it, whether it was money or labor or time. So, and anything that you're involved with the process in, you know, is good. So obviously, we have to kind of hit this from a financial angle as well. Like, how does gratitude affect your financial health? So if you type that in, you know, there's all this stuff. Like, there's websites from, you know, Medium to NerdWallet to Fidelity all have articles talking about how practicing gratitude in some form in your life is actually like really good for you. There's an article here from Medium that is saying that researchers found that donating money to charity or those in need boosted happiness by as much as doubling your household income does. So while they didn't really provide numbers, it's a Medium article. Yeah, this is not a peer reviewed study. You know, they could just be making that up. You know, but suspect statistics. But what does feel a little more reliable is this guy Lertz. He was interviewed for a NerdWallet article. Also not like the pinnacle of research, but it is written by like certified financial planners usually, and like financial professionals. So you can generally say it's probably like, at least like going to be okay advice.
What did alerts say?
He said that gratitude can kind of like by you reflecting on what you have already, it can kind of help you. It'll actually help you save and kind of like quell that I need more, I need different, I need this, I need that. So it kind of tamps down your consumerist impulse, so you're not just like, I need that new pair of shoes, so I'm going to go spend, $300 on a pair of sneakers that I'm going to wear one time, know? So
it reminded me, your notes of that article from NerdWallet in the outline reminded me of, I don't know which pastor it was, but it's like a very famous speech that I've heard or sermon from a pastor. It might have been Billy Graham, but he's talking about how there's a God-shaped hole in everybody's heart. And so
that's a huge hole.
Like if you think of trying to drive a square peg into a round hole, like people try to fill it with materialism, like in this case, or other things, but like the only thing that can really fill that is God. So that was just, it seemed like a parallel to me where people try to fix things with materialism or like consumption of things, but it's not going to get you there for the gratitude.
It's like that meme of the guy slapping the boat.
The Flex Seal.
The Flex Seal meme, Everybody's trying to use Flex Seal. It's not working. You need
Flex Seal does work.
Well, Flex Seal does work, but it's the other one where it shoots out right through his hand. Right? So you don't know what I'm talking about. I'll make a meme about it for the podcast. It'll be great.
Put it on the story.
God-shaped hole. It's true though. Go to church. That's an order. That is advice. That is personal advice that I'm giving. I fully stand by that. Go to church.
Great advice. I agree.
That was not entertainment. That was advice.
An article that I found after I saw your NerdWallet article was a study from China so I guess it's more of a study than an article. But I said it was an article, but it was a study. Okay. A study from China that found that the trait gratitude, when they measured people on a scale, having the strong trait of gratitude was linked with growth mindset and career success. So that makes sense to me, just based off like clusters of personality, I guess. And goes back to your linking it to financial things. Being high in a gratitude score is linked to more financial success.
100%, because I mean, literally, the next article I have is Fidelity being them talking to interviewing one of their senior executives, just talking about like investing in general, and he said that investing is a long-term strategy. And so our emotions, including fear, are not designed to deal with long-term challenges. When you're calm, you're better able to deal with forward-looking emotional states. You can think about your investing decisions without reacting to current threats or making bad decisions like selling when the market is down because you're currently experiencing fear. So practicing gratitude through like reflection, thinking about all the good things in your life, counting your blessings, daily. Really, you should like thank God for my wife, thank God for my son, thank God for my parents, my job. Sometimes, no, all the time. I love my job. My friends, my family, all the good things in my life, and then that's kind of once you count those up, unless like you really are an unfortunate soul, it's generally going to outweigh whatever bad things are going on, particularly if you're living in the first world. If you're in, I don't know, if you're in Ukraine right now and like in a trench somewhere, things are probably pretty rough. But if you're living in the States or like Canada, you probably got life better than you think you do.
Yeah. So I think like the conclusion here on gratitude is that gratitude, growth mindset, delayed gratification, not being anxious, those things are all seem to be linked. before we end here, Sean, it might be beneficial if we go through some ways to increase gratitude practices in your life. So we can just kind of alternate back and forth. I'll do the first pick in the draft. I'm going to go with prayer. Praying, thanking God. My wife and I do grace before every dinner. So we thank God and count our blessings. I think prayer is a big one. What's your next one?
Prayer is wonderful, but I feel like it should definitely, like, I found that I've benefited the most from prayer when it's like mostly personal, and I would agree with that. Like I talked about just a second ago is sitting there like in bed before you go to sleep. Think about all the good things. Thank God for them. Throw it up there with a Hail Mary or an Our Father or something. And give it a little boost and get to him in time.
A little expedited.
Yeah. Throw that stamp on there. But no, I mean, reflection, prayer, meditation, all these. So
you're going back to back picks here. So I took prayer. You took you took reflecting at night, maybe.
Yeah.
And then you're going.
I would say
meditation.
I would say count your blessing. I think reflection, meditation, I mean, and prayer are all kind of synonymous. I view them as like, do you like Coke or Pepsi?
Yeah. It's like I've always had the mindset that when people are like meditating and they're out there, I don't know,
they're in their nothing box.
I think I've always thought they're praying, they just don't know it.
Yeah. Well, that's
like undirected prayer.
Well, that is the concern that some people do have with yoga, is that it is a spiritual practice, and those motions are actually part of Hindu like worship, religious rituals. So for some people who practice that, and like are Christian, like pastors and priests, like Christian clergymen, I guess, have warned of the potential dangers.
I think the pro of moving your body and physical health,
but also worshiping a demon could be dangerous too.
All right, the last one that I'll go with here is like journaling. I think a journaling practice helps you realize like your blessings. So all these are kind of in the same vein. Prayer, meditation, yoga, reflecting, counting your blessings, journaling. They all seem to have a similar vein here, but I guess one of the common things that unites them is just slowing down and taking that little bit of time each day to really just slow down and think about things.
Disconnecting, get away from your phone or your book or whatever you're using as an outside source of stimulus, and just spend some time with yourself.
Yeah.
Like too many people can't, like if you can't sit in a room and stare at a wall and be cool with it, like you need some help.
Sean loves watching paint dry.
Yeah. It's one of my favorite activities. That's how I stay sane, is I just look at paint chips.
Yeah. All right, guys, we will see you next week. Nick will be back, so we will have all three of us next week. Going to record a ton of episodes. We've got some book club episodes coming up. I think 2 of our upcoming book episodes are The Myth of Capitalism and The Cholesterol Myth. So
I gotta read those.
Check those out. Yeah, there's still some prep to do on the Weights and Wealth side here, but if you want to start reading those so that you've read the book beforehand, our previous 2 expanded long-form book club episodes were Toxic Charity by Robert Lupton, episode 69, I think, and the second one was Liberty Amendments by Mark Levin, which I think was one of our favorite episodes. That was episode 79. And I think that was, like, between us, one of our favorite episodes to record. A good time. So definitely check those out, and feel free to read those books either beforehand or after you listen to the episode. All right, guys, we'll see you next week. Thank you.
Thanks for joining us today at Weights and Wealth. And don't forget to apply today's lessons to live healthy and wealthy.
If this conversation will contribute to your fitness and financial gains, please share it with a friend or family member and give a 5-star review so more people can lift bigger weights and get bigger bank accounts.